Chapter 3, Productivity Hacks, How to Motivate Yourself to Work. Of course, sitting down and doing the hardest and biggest thing first, isn't always easy. It's one thing to set yourself rules for working, but it's quite another to stick to them. With so much to do, how can you make sure that you stay on course and actually do it? Especially when it would be so easy to grab a good book and a hot drink, and then retire into the armchair that's right there in the corner of the room. This is where you need some productivity hacks. Setting yourself rewards. Coming to our rescue is a tip from the book How to Save an Hour a Day by Michael Heppel. He says that you should set yourself smaller goals within a project, and then reward yourself for completing those. So for instance, if you normally start your day by going to make yourself a coffee, then browsing through emails, and having a cheeky look at Facebook, that needs to change. It is about 9:30 and you've so far achieved nothing. That's a deflating way to start your day. So instead, sit down, eat the frog, and set out to write that massive project, or to complete the big data entry task, but then set yourself a target for the first chunk of work, perhaps n number of data rows. At this point, you can go and have your coffee. And then when you complete another chunk of work that you set as a goal, you can go and answer those emails. Now by 9:30, you have already completed a huge chunk of your work and you'll feel far better about yourself as a result. What's more, is that you'll often push yourself even further. You finish those 20 rows of data and then you think, why not do 10 more before the coffee? And this also means you'll drink less coffee. If you're anything like me, then that's no bad thing. Leaving work unfinished. Another way you can encourage yourself to dive straight into your biggest task is to leave a project incomplete the day before. Now, this might sound quite counterintuitive. Most of us assume we should try to polish everything off when we finish for the day. But in fact, when you know that you've got 3,000 words to write tomorrow, you should try to write 400 words of it before you finish your day. So you're not leaving work incomplete that you were meant to complete today, you're not completing less work. All you're doing, is making a start on tomorrow's project. Firstly, that means you don't have to start a project fresh first thing in the morning. Looking at a blank screen is the most jarring and most difficult part of completing any task for many people. At the same time, this now means that you will have an emotional urge to complete that task. Our brains hate leaving work unfinished, it makes us itchy. And so the fact that there is an open, unfinished task, just sitting there on your desktop, means that you're far more likely to just get stuck in. Overcoming writer's block. But what if you don't have this luxury? What if you didn't get a chance to start the work the day before? Staring at a blank screen is hard work for anyone. Writer's block is not something that only affects writers. So the other big piece of advice I can give you is this: just start coding. Just start writing. Just start designing. Even if the quality of the work appears to be poor. Even if you are feeling slow and sluggish and you aren't sure if what you are producing is high quality. Just get working. What this will do is to help you to get into the flow. Now you can always go back and check that what you wrote was okay. But in order to get into that flow state, in order to get productive, you just need to push past that initial resistance. And again, this is good training. It forms good habits. And it will help you to just get stuck in future. Prepping your work. Something else you can do, is to focus on how you are going to spend your time between work by prepping. When you're making cups of tea, when you're stuck in traffic, and when you're in queues, you can still actually be working in your head. Now it's really important that you do allow yourself proper downtime. Properly resting and enjoying yourself will make you much more productive lately. So the aim is not to do this throughout your weekend or evenings. But if you have a lot to finish and you have the opportunity, why not think about the project? You can program in your head. You can write in your head. That means coming up with solutions to coding problems, or it means thinking about article structures. And now when you sit down at the computer to do some work, you will find that it flows much easier and you get much more work done. Likewise, you spend your time listening to videos about things you need to know for your project. If you're a blogger, for instance, why not listen to videos on that subject and get ideas for how you're going to write your post? This works really well if you happen to love what you do. If you enjoy the work you're doing, then it really won't feel all that much like work anyway. This is also similar to another concept described by Tim Ferriss, prep and pickup. Prep and pickup describes how you can set the conditions for productivity prior to the point where you actually need to do the work, and then simply execute on your plan when the time comes. The example that Ferriss gives on his blog is when creating a Kickstarter campaign. Rather than launching your campaign and then spending the next several days writing emails, making calls, and chasing leads, instead you would write all the emails you need and all the marketing materials in the days leading up to the launch. Then you can put those emails and marketing messages on some kind of auto-scheduler, and then simply let the campaign market itself once it is live. The reason this works so well is it means that you can't possibly fail to complete the work you need to finish. Nothing can crop up and get in the way, because all the legwork is already done. And any work you do need to do is that much easier for all the research you put in. This is what you are doing when you work from home. You're going to spend the time between work and in the days leading up to big projects getting together all the resources you need and thinking about precisely what you need to do. Then you can be optimally productive when the time comes. One more concept to discuss from the book Deep Work that is relevant to this is the notion of productive meditation. This is a form of meditation where you meditate on a particular project or problem. This is perfect while going for walks, when doing zombie tasks, or while otherwise conducting menial tasks. And it has the added bonus of being very good for your brain. Creating accountability. Finally, the most important thing you need to recreate if you want to be productive while working from home is accountability. At home, you might find yourself browsing Facebook for too long, or wandering off to raid the fridge. Why does this happen at home and not in the office? Simple: at the office, there are people watching you to make sure you don't do those things. Likewise, your manager might swing by to see how much work you've done. You're accountable. At home, you don't need to show your work until it's due. Therefore, you can easily put off doing it until right before you're supposed to hand it in. Of course, that means a mad dash at the end of the day, which ultimately results in your work coming completely unraveled. One way to reintroduce that accountability is to use apps, websites, or even pacts with your friends and loved ones. Many people will ask their partners to check in on how much work they've done, and to then punish them in some way if they fail to complete the work. I personally don't believe this is particularly feasible in the long term, nor particularly healthy. So instead, why not create natural incentive and accountability by setting yourself stricter deadlines? Speak with your boss/client and tell them that you will hand your work in to them every day. If you have a 10-day project, that means you'll provide them with an incomplete version of the work, so they can see how it is coming along. This might seem like digging your own grave, or making your own life miserable. But at the end of the day, it will force you to stay on track, and it will structure your day. Now you know that you need to write 4,000 words a day, or write 20 lines of code, or add X feature. You know you need to complete 5 data rows. What that means in turn is that you now have no option to put the work off until the last day. That means no half working while you twiddle your thumbs. More importantly, it means that if you complete your work early, by putting in more time to work more quickly, then you will find yourself with free time. This is now actual free time, because you don't have an abstract goal looming at the end of the week. Now you have options: do more work and get more money, do more work today and take tomorrow off, or just clock off early and relax. This not only gives you a precise target, but helps you stick to that target. That in turn is when the amazing benefits of working from home start to reveal themselves.